So, I'm sitting here right now thinking about the environment, isolation, what causes people to have or make bad decisions in their life. Everybody that's supported in care, they do need interaction of some sort. It's quite easy to sit there and say, well, that person's happy. They're sitting there by themselves, open a little shed or a summer house all day. Not much to do for them. Oh, there's a little wooden seat, wooden flooring, no lighting, no heating. It could be raining. They might be sitting inside. They've got a roof above them. They're content. There's no obvious behaviours of concern present. You know, you're watching from the window. You know, we're nice and warm, having a cup of coffee there, chatting with the other colleague if the person you're supporting is 2 to 1 or 3 to 1, or there's just other carers about. You're going to speak to them, have a chat, a little bit of interaction, looking out the window. There they are, standing outside the little summer house, sitting down again. Possibly now and then coming in for a coffee, taking a coffee up, perhaps some incense sticks. There's no behaviours of concern there. I haven't seen anything. The person needs his space. I said he, it could be a she, my mistake, but it's all about boredom, isolation, escape. Why is that person there? They need the space. What do they need the space from? What are they actually escaping in the house? Yes, some people do have little hobbies. They may go in a shed. They might have an allotment. They'll have the radio on. They might have a smoke. They might have a drink. You know. They might talk to the other gardeners when they're up there. They're making choices which is a social choice. If a person's going up for a long period especially, it's usually some form of escape from the environment, from their own home possibly. For example, the summer house, the person is getting away from something. It doesn't necessarily mean they're escaping a bad thing. They could just be escaping the boredom of the house. There's no rapport there with anybody. There's no interaction. There's no activities visible for them to try and do, which makes you start thinking of bad choices. For example, somebody might go up there to the summer house. They start getting a bit bored, might just start urinating on the floor in the corners of the summer house, outside the summer house. Might start spitting, you know, rubbing the spit into the seat on the walls. Those type of choices that the person's deciding to do is created through not having the interaction, not having a meaningful activity. I remember a long time ago, I myself was in quite a bad place. I was in my house. I actually had lodgers at the time because I was a bit short of money. I would sit in this tiny little bedroom. All my friends had grown up. I didn't have really anyone really to interact with. I was spending a lot of time in the bedroom, had my TV on, I was having a few drinks, I was smoking, I was playing music, a certain song all the time that reminded me of something in the past which was quite emotional. To others listening from the other rooms, they thought, oh, he likes that song, doesn't he? He's enjoying himself, he's getting his own little bit of space there. He's happy in there, he's quite happy, content. I thought I was as well. I really did. I was quite content there, you know. I had my little space. I was in there by myself. But I started making bad choices myself. I'm not going to go into all of them, but one that springs to mind quite often with myself, which I thought was a perfectly rational thing to do at that time, was to pick up an empty beer bottle. And yes, you guess it, the bathroom was just 10 foot away around the corner, but no, I picked up the bottle and I urinated in it. Put the top on, did this a little bit more often before I knew I'd had 3 or 4 bottles there in my bedroom, and then I would walk through and empty them the next day and dispose of the bottle. That's me creating a bad choice from boredom, no interaction, and at the time I did not personally see that as a bad choice. And for the example of the music I was playing, it was a very personal song to myself over my past, which at the time caused me a lot of trauma. And I would play a song on a loop over and over and over again. Even thinking back to it now, I can get a little bit trauma from that, from memories of the time I was there. I used to break down. I didn't wail, I didn't scream so anyone could hear me. I would, get very emotional. I would cry. I wouldn't tell anyone. So the main point of this conversation really is that every single human being, no matter who they are, where they're at, the environment that they're in, they need interaction. They need a rapport with somebody. They need to know somebody cares. They need to know somebody's interested in what they're saying. I remember many a time at the same time I would sometimes go out to a local pub. I didn't really know anybody. If I started talking, it was something in me made my social conversations quite drab, I would say, quite boring. I would notice that with other people. They would start talking, and then in the middle of my conversation they would basically jump in before I finished. That was very damaging. It really hurt me at the time. When I look back again, I think, oh my God, it's little things like that where people in general, if you smile when you're talking to someone, you feel that warmth, you're going to engage more with that person. If somebody's sitting there, just say one of your mates sitting in the pub or anywhere you're going to meet them, they're sitting there looking miserable, it affects you. It comes across to you. You think, should I speak to them? Should I not speak to them? And when you do, you're changing your personality to speak to the person in that way, to try not to get them upset, to try not to make them angry. This is exactly the same as support work. The person you're supporting is very, very likely that in some time in their life they face some kind of trauma. They would have had a moment in their life that something might remind them of a moment in their life that they were scared, frightened, hurt. And just being around somebody, smiling, finding something that they want to do, something they enjoy, they've got a meaningful activity, can be hard. But looking at the likes that you think are their likes, watch the person, watch what they do when they are by themselves. It could be a simple thing like sitting on a chair and start touching the feet with a look of massaging toes or feet, rubbing their own foot a little bit. Perhaps that person would love a foot massage. Maybe the person's by themselves and they just start kicking a little can around in the garden, just kicking it by themselves. Perhaps they would love a new football. Have a little kick around, or no pressure, kick the football around. It's about watching the person more than thinking that you know what they like, because an activity can be often staff-led, and that's not a an aim to get at anybody for doing that. They just take somebody for a walk, for example, to a certain area, keep doing it, it becomes a routine. The person does it. Yes, there's no behaviours. The person might be smiling on the way, and they might actually enjoy it. But watching a person, you can gain a lot more by their actions, ripping cardboard maybe, or banging something off the table to hear the noise. Buy a little drum kit. It's all about watching and observing the person. Anyway, I am just a support worker. I've had approximately 9 years now as a support worker. I've always been interested in PBS. I've felt at times I'm a bit of I'm not going to say a one-man show, that's the wrong way to say it, but I struggle sometimes with others dismissing ideas. I had a situation not long ago. I brought up at a team meeting, how about start using picture cards for choice for activities? Pick the ones everyone believes the person enjoys. Have 3 choices, let them pick it up in the morning. And you get things like the get choice. We ask if you want to walk, yes or no, and they say yes. Now, that is a choice, don't get me wrong. It is the choosing to walk or not, but is it a good, meaningful choice of a meaningful activity that they may enjoy? It's very difficult, the world of support work. I think everybody would agree who's in it. It takes a lot out of you if you truly care about the individual or individuals that you support. It is very hard not to take that home with you. But that shows the passion of the work that support workers do, especially for the money that they get, which I'm not going to go into, but you've got to have a true passion to be a support worker. And it's long hours, and yes, you can't always smile the whole shift. You're going to be tired at times. But around that individual, it's so easy to pick up on emotions. They'll be picking up off you without doubt. So you've got to try, you've got to act, you've got to put on a smiley face, even if you've had the worst day of your life, or the worst week of your life, or the worst year of your life, and do the best for the person you're supporting. It's all about quality of life. You'll hear that all the time. Quality of life, it is. It's common sense approach. It's, would you, in that situation, how would you feel? What would you want? What would you like to happen right now? But anyway, I've waffled on, sitting in the garden, and it's getting a bit cloudy. But anyway, it's a interesting topic. PBS is a minefield. It's there to create better environments, a quality of life for the person and for yourself. If your job goes better with less behaviours of concern, is obviously helping that person. They're going to be more inclined to be sitting with you, making your job just a happier place to be for yourself. The whole idea of everything is you do one little thing and you see this big difference, and the happiness that you feel as a support worker, just seeing that little change that you may have made for that person, is immense. And it's not measurable. You can't, I did a little thing yesterday with the person I support, and noticing the reactions afterwards and later that day and later that evening with the report to myself from that person was massive. I do look back at when I first started support work. Yes, I haven't been in that long, but when I first started, when I look back, I think, why did I not do that then? Why did I not try that then? I went years before I really sort of worked at anything. I just thought, same as most, you know, the person's happy, the content, keep out the way a little bit, they seem fine there. But you do not get that physical presence, you don't get the laughs, that interaction between two people, even if it's minimal. It's just the look, the gaze. If the gaze is a little bit longer, you see the person following you around the house a little bit more. The person might be more inclined to brush against you with the shoulder. The person will be asking you a little bit more, even with low communication, for things. The other week I did a little bit more activity-based things, which the person's not supposed to necessarily enjoy too much. I thought I would try. You know, fingers in the ears supposedly means I do not want any communication right now. So it was fingers in the ears up at the summer house, believe it or not. And I said, do you want some music on? Do you want to dance? I do. We danced, played music for an hour. Then the football was there, so I started kicking the ball around. They started kicking the ball around with me for another half an hour. I walked in, the person followed me in. We walked to the back of the house with a little basketball hoop. I just picked the ball up. I said, yeah, do you want this? I chucked it to him. He threw it back. We played for half an hour. In that morning, the person didn't want to go in the car. Kept saying to the other members of staff, no car. After I did those 3 little activities, I say little, they were actually big, the person came over to me, got the car keys, said, go in car, and said, you drive. We went out and had a fabulous time. Anyway, thank you for listening. Bye bye.